We ended up taking 2 0 days in Hot Springs to get some stuff done and for James' right ankle to have a little time to heal. We went to a church service Sunday morning, started off with their Sunday school, had a wonderful time talking about Proverbs 19 and the verses in that. But some super sweet people were so nice and generous to us and welcomed us and gave us some homemade banana bread and just did a wonderful job. But the pastor here did a great job with his message, and we're thankful to have gone. All right, so we just got finished eating at the diner this morning. It's about 7:30, and we are heading through Hot Springs one more time. Of course, this time we don't have to turn around and go south again on the AT to back to our stay. Since this time we're done with our stay, we had a couple of zeros, and I just showed you some pictures of what we did on our zeros. James' right ankle, the ligament on the outside, had flared up a little bit, and so we, like we talked about before the trip, we're going to be smart, listen to our bodies, take zeros when necessary so that we don't aggravate an injury, just a usage injury, and create a real injury and have to truly get off the trail or halt our adventure. So this point, this is what it's looking like. Gorgeous. Good morning to you. This is what it's looking like. It's a beautiful morning, but the rain's coming. We're gonna have a lot of rain this week. We got 5 days of hiking before we reach Erwin, Tennessee. That's where we're heading today. We're heading about 11 or 12 miles. Then we'll camp. Maybe we'll get there before the rain. Chances are we won't, but so be it. It's part of the adventure. So here we go. Okay, so I didn't know dogwoods were any color but white, but look at this gorgeous, these flowers. Isn't that something? Look at those flowers, and then there's a white one starting to bloom right there, a dogwood, the traditional look, but I just was blown away by this. Wow. I heard from a local yesterday that this river here supposedly is the third oldest river in the world. I'll have to research that. I don't know that for a fact, but I was told that. So they say this whole area we're in is kind of prehistoric, if you will, very old. Supposedly there's a sign on the other side of the river saying something about this river and its age, but also down the river there's hieroglyphics and things that are found on some high cliff faces that have supposedly been dated back to about 4000 BC. So like when the pyramids were being built, that kind of thing. So who knows? It seems like we're in some ancient place. Thank you, Hot Springs. We had a wonderful, glorious stay. pretty little place here. It looks like we've got a little hiking club, some sort, coming this way too. So that was a little hiking club group. Super nice people from Weaverville, out on a nice day hike. But we had a good little exchange with them for a few moments. And actually they're gonna start following us, reading on the journal and watching the videos and all. So you never know who's interested. I'm just thankful that we can be out here and James and I can be experiencing this for ourselves, but also documenting it for ourselves and for our family, and then just for strangers who are in the community. Because even many of you watching, you may not be active hikers, but you have an interest in your watching and following people, so you're in the community. And if you can get out, get out. If not, you're absolutely a part. I'm so thankful that whoever has joined and followed is following. We're on it together. All right, so we've got a fire tower at 0.15. We'll come back, hop on the AT in just a minute. But this is supposed to be well worth it. So here we go. Well, here's the top. It's just a wide open platform that you can stand under out of the weather. And here's the view. And here we go again, a little closer. So the tower, as you saw, was beautiful. I just put on my rain gear, my rain jacket and my rain kilt, because we do expect rain to start within the next hour, hour and a half. We won't be quite to camp at that point, and I just don't want to take my pack off and put that on. Plus, in the fire tower, that wind was blowing, and I was just in my my hiking shirt and my shorts, and it was a little chilly, so it's perfect time to put on a windbreaker anyway. The wind has been picking up as this front's kind of rolling toward us, but this is really pretty woods back into deciduous. Not really a lot of green up here on the top. We'll get back down into the rhododendron here shortly, I'm sure. But we just passed Bushwhacker and Tim, who we hiked with days before Clingman's Dome, and we actually had breakfast with Tim this morning in Hot Springs. But anyway, they're slack packing, and what that is they get dropped off up the trail. This morning they got dropped off 15 miles from Hot Springs, north of Hot Springs, and they've southbound hiked these 18 miles back to Hot Springs. They're going to spend the night in Hot Springs and then get dropped back off at Allen Gap, which is where they got dropped this morning, to hike back to Hot Springs. So some people do that just because they would like to be in town one more night for another hot meal or whatever. So to each his own. I just am so traditional. I just can't imagine going any direction but north if I'm a NOBO, a northbound hiker. So I wouldn't be a candidate for slack packing ever. I just feel like once I start at point A, I'm going to go to point B, and that's Katahdin on my mind. Hello everybody, I'm sitting in my tent. The storm is here. It started raining on us about 15 minutes before we got to the shelter. Rain gear did its job. My clothes were fairly dry underneath the rain gear, but basically when you get to a shelter, a campsite, and it's raining like this, you basically got to set up your shelter as fast as possible and then just dive in it. So James put up his tarp and he's under it, fixing his hammock system, and I'm in my tent and I'm fixing to get my stuff set up in here. Let me show you so far what I've done. So the only thing in the tent with me right now are my gloves, because I'm warming up my hands. It doesn't take super cold temperatures and wind to start numbing your hands where you can't really work with them that good. So I am getting my hands warm before I set the rest of my tent up. But over there is the contents of that pack that I wear on my front. It gets wet, but it kept the contents dry. So the contents are there. It's hanging up over there. Now what I do is I set my chair frame, the frame to my chair, I always set it in my vestibule. So the tent has two vestibules that you can keep wet things out. So I put my chair there, and then I hang my shoes. This is pretty much my everyday routine anyway. I hang my shoes, my socks, and keep things out in my vestibule that I don't want to get inside of my tent dirty. Other side, the other vestibule right now has my wet pack. So it's sitting in the other vestibule. You can see you have a pretty good bit of space that you can use. It's out of the weather, but out of the tent because it's awfully wet. So in just a little bit, when my hands start working right, my fingers start getting a little easier to use, I will open this netting up and start getting the stuff out of my backpack that's dry. It's all dry in there. So my mattress, my sleeping bag, all that stuff I'll start unloading and making my actual nest in the bird's nest. But right now it's just me trying to get my fingers warm, and then we'll just wait it out. Once the rain stops, we can get out, cook, eat, hang the bear bag, and then get ready to hop in later for bed. But it's only 2 o'clock. So we made our 11-ish miles. We're done. Now we just got to wait out the storm a little bit. All right, so I am warm and dry, and I've made my nest a little bit more. So I wanted to show you a little bit more about what I've done. So that is my clothes bag down there, all my various clothes, clean stuff, dry stuff there. This is the bear bag, which is temporarily in here. It'll be hung later tonight before we go to bed, but I've already shown you the chair support out there with all my stuff, socks hanging, everything's drying outside, my bottles of water and such. My shorts are hanging from the parachute cord up here. They're not that wet, but I'm gonna let them just air out and dry out. Over here, my shirt's hanging up with my InReach Explorer, and the wet backpack is still in the vestibule. And now I've got my mattress already inflated, so it's already in here, and my sleeping bag on top, and my pillow has been inflated, and I'm warmer. Got my warm thermal tights on and some smart wool socks, and then I've made a little bit better organization over here with my stuff. I'm fixing to charge up my phone, And again, just kind of wait the storm out and then maybe eat something a little bit later. And but I'm cozy. Gonna look through some pictures, get rid of some stuff I don't want on the pictures there, and I'm reading a book, Hind's Feet in High Places. So I am going to continue to read that. I've read about 80 pages or so yesterday, so I think I'll continue that as I wait for the storm to pass. All right, so it's a little after 6 o'clock, and this is what our place looks like now. We're completely clouded in, socked in. The rain has ceased for a little while. It's supposed to come back later tonight, but be kind of sunny tomorrow so we can dry out our stuff. But we're on this little ridge here. The wind's still maybe 8 to 15 miles per hour. It's not like it was when the storm rolled through, but here's James set up. Here's my tent. I've got one other person. I don't know who has joined us over here on this ridge. But the shelter is that general direction. You can't see it any longer. I'm fixing to go put my food on those lines over there, if you can see those, through the cloud, get it up off the ground. So another day done. Good night.